Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, what you know about bench mob? They're speaking the facts that you wanna hear. They rep a jersey, the vision is clear. Diamonds glisten like a chandelier. You know what I'm here for, like Marshawn Lynch. At clutch time, we do not flinch. Real brothers, we do not switch. Hit home runs with the right pitch. Who run the city? What to do when they hating on you? I feel like Kobe 2010. Taking an L, all I need is a win. Business is business, you know how they go. They clearing the seats, now it's time to grow. Tune in now, gotta be in the know. Showtime, bitch, my about to blow. We know.
Welcome back. It's another episode of the Bench Mob Podcast. First off, for those that watch this, for those that listen to this, shout out to y'all. This is a celebration. This is the 1 year anniversary of the Bench Mob being in existence. If you did not see, we have a contest going on, free giveaway. Go to our page, bench_mob_podcast on IG, and you'll see all the rules to follow. I am joined today by the full squad that is here. The Big Four is in the building. Starting off with Chris. How are you doing tonight, my bro?
Good, man. Good to be back. Nice relaxing weekend. I know some of y'all out there got your little Valentine's dates in and whatnot. Miles over there geeking already. You know, he was up to something. But, yeah, man, it's just good to be back.
Greg, the Nets aficionado, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. I'm not as good as you. It's your birthday, bro. I'm not as good as you.
Thanks. Oh, happy birthday to my guy.
Appreciate it. And, of course, we are joined today by the only bachelor on the show, Mr. Do It For The Ladies, Nick's Tape in the building, Miles Davenport, smooth operator left hand. How you doing tonight?
You won't get me caught up with these intros.
You out here airing Miles out like he Miles can have a girl on the low end and she might be listening and getting tight.
Every episode, that's my intro.
You know what the vibes is. She know what she signed up for. No, when she said yes to Miles. You know what she signed up for.
That's the thing. She may not.
Look, let's look at him. Light skin, wave. Look at him. He purposely put his head down right there. Wave spinning with the fade. The beard connecting. Mine don't connect, but I'm married, so it don't gotta connect. I'm straight. Wow. I'd love to be like you, man. But we gonna get straight into it. We was talking about this before we started recording. We might as well start here. Chris Doyle, former Iowa strength coach, was hired by Urban Meyer for the Jaguars. Yeah, Jaguars. For the Jaguars. He was at Iowa, and over 50 players came forward attesting of his racial comments said by said coach and his comments where he made fun of people with learning disabilities. There was a lot of backlash that came from it, and from the backlash through social media, the great world that we live in, he resigned. I want to get y'all takes on this whole situation of the hiring and the resigning of Chris Doyle.
Hold up. Y'all know how Charlemagne be doing the donkey of the day? He gets the donkey of the day. Him and Urban Meyer, both of them get the donkey of the day. And let's start off with Doyle, right? So I can't even say it's not really, we're not even going to go there because I'm not about to get into that. But at the same time, these players aren't lying. No one's just going to come out here and just make false allegations against, these are grown men who are players. They're not just going to make these false allegations against, a strength and conditioning coach, right? Especially if they feel some type of way about it. So, he was accused of making racist comments and whatnot. And at the same time, it's like you got to believe it if you're, the regular person just from the outside looking in. Like you said, it was over 50-something players. And we didn't get specifics on what he said, right, and what he did. But at the same time, what you did, which is exactly why you resigned the day after you took the job. You're like, oh, it's sweet. I'm gonna get this contract right. Nope. He saw them allegations come out, and he heard all the noise. He's like, yeah, I ain't built for this. I'm not about to sit here and listen to all this. And at the same time too, coming from him, like, you know you messed up at some point. And then Urban Meyer, like, you got to be looking at Urban Meyer like, man, what are you doing? And for someone who, I was listening to something the other day. They were talking about, like, Urban Meyer was the king of college football, right? When he was coaching at Ohio State and the Florida Gators, like, you can't check him on the field. And then, like, from a coaching standpoint, college is different. You don't got to report to a GM or anything like that. You call the shots. Everything goes through you. You don't got to check with anybody or anything like that. So, Greg kind of said it best earlier. Like, he thought it was sweet. He's like, all right, let me go ahead and bring my boy in. Like, they already had a strength and conditioning coach. Like, and what really got me mad and what set me off about Urban Meyer is, one, you just started with Jacksonville. You're supposed to be trying to make a good impression and try to change the culture there. And he's already acting like his resume at Ohio State translates, and it doesn't. You don't have control of that locker room yet. Some of these players don't know you. They don't care what you did at Ohio State. Like, it's different. These are grown-ass men, and excuse my language, these are grown men, and they care about, most of these men care about more than football, right? It's not just a game to them. They care about changing the league, and we saw that this whole past year with BLM. So for Urban Meyer to come in and think, that's going to slide, and that, he doesn't have to earn the respect of his players in the locker room and just really, do whatever he wants, like, it just says a lot about him as a person.
Hey, Miles, at this point, can we safely say that he might have already lost the locker room before even the first snap?
Possibly. Because how do you come in as a new coach? Everybody knows your resume as a college coach, but that, like Chris said, that doesn't translate to the NFL. This is a new league that he's playing in. So now you got to gain the respect of these players. And if you're choosing somebody who's clearly, been accused of making racist comments, then what does that say about you? If you're willing to co-sign on a guy who, let's be frank, most of these teams are made up of predominantly black athletes. So if you're willing to bring in a guy who's accused of that, then I don't know. I don't have much respect for you.
I think it would have worked out, though, if he decided to stay, because he would have tried that with a grown man on the Jacksonville Jaguars. It would have ended differently. We're not going to go to the university or the team to talk about it. He's going to get chin checked easily. Greg, you were very passionate on this topic. You go ahead. You got the floor, Greg.
I just don't think this topic is that complicated. All right, it's another white coach in the NFL, a league ran by white men, and a white coach who's had success at the collegiate level and has been, and college coaches are above any other state official in their respective states. Like, they get paid more than anyone. They get paid more than anyone in their states, right? So he's not used to having anyone telling him what to do. So when he stepped into this job, he had full control, was given full control of draft decisions, personnel decisions. What did we think he was going to come in here and do? He didn't stick his neck out there for a friend. That's not what this was. Like, people were talking about it like he stuck his neck out there for someone he's known for a long time. He knew what backlash was going to come with this. You know why he thought he could get away with it? Because he's white. Because he's a white man. That's why. If a black man tried this, it would be a problem. It would be a problem. Like, it would be a problem. And it's a problem regardless of your skin color. But the only person that could have this audacity to try this and think he'd get away with it, right? And probably could have gotten away with it too. That backlash was hot. But I'm sure what really happened was there was a call from upstairs, like, hey, you got players in this locker room that are black. There's most of your players are black, so there's gonna be a problem here. They're not gonna go out there and play for you. And they still may not go out and play for him. Who knows how this works out? But like you guys all said, but the reality is he thought he could get away with this because he's a white man. That's what this boils down to. It boils down to white privilege. All right, he can stick his nigga out for a friend. It's really simple what this was. So for me, it's crazy to me. Urban Meyer goes on TV, has this pristine image, right? He talks about the game. He talks to black co-hosts. He deals with black players. It all seems fine. It is all I thought about when I heard this story was, we don't know any of these dudes. We don't know any of these dudes, right? So I can't give anyone the benefit of the doubt, like no one, because I don't know you. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you stand for. All I know is what I get to see on TV and what someone writes up for you when you go on a press conference. That's all I know. I don't know you. So Urban Meyer showed everybody who he was, bottom line. And I can't say I'm surprised to see it. It's that simple.
Transition, that's a good point. We talked about this, like Mike Tomlin probably doesn't have the same type of pull to even try something like this. Speaking of, you got JJ Watt, we all know was released. A lot of people are saying that was a factor, also race, because Deshaun Watson is not getting any leeway or pull. JJ Watt and the ownership came to a mutual agreement and decided that it was best that they part ways. Maybe it's because JJ Watt obviously is on the tail end of his career. Deshaun Watson is definitely starting to peak even more. So where do you think JJ Watt could possibly end up? And I heard some of this debate. Is JJ Watt considered, outside of maybe Andre Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins, one of the greatest Texans ever? Is his jersey going to be up in the Raptors?
No doubt. Up in the Raptors for the Texans, of course. I mean, this is a guy that's had over 101 sacks in his 9 seasons with the Texans, right? Like, people forget, like, JJ Watt, because Aaron Donald's been in the league now for a few years and he's been the talk for defensive ends, but like people forgot, like, JJ Watt when he was in the league, back in early on in his career, when I think it was 2012 to like 2015, he won the defensive player in the year 3 years straight. And then he kind of had that injuries start occurring and he got injured, consecutive years in a row. I think he's only played like 2 full seasons in the past 5 years where he's played the full, 16 games. And his numbers are obviously showing with the decline and whatnot, only 5 sacks this year, and 4 in 2019. But at the same time, like, he's still a player that you can put on a championship team and he's gonna, be valuable to help you get to that championship level. So, like, I think JJ Watt could easily go to the Browns, and the Browns could really be a force. I mean, we saw the Browns this year with a great defense, right? And then they had their offense exploded with limited wide receivers. These are just players that stepped up, that made them look good and whatnot, from Jarvis Landry to, I forget boy's name. That's beside the point. But at the same time, you put JJ Watt on the other side of Myles Garrett. Now you got forces coming from both sides. Now you don't know, which side to overload on with your offensive linemen and which side to run away from. You make it that much more difficult. And I would love to see him on the Browns, just for him to hopefully get a shot at, winning a conference game. That's something that he hasn't done in his career. Just had that opportunity. But he can come to the Bengals too. We need some pass rushers. The Lord knows that. But he not winning no chip with us.
I honestly think Dallas might try to keep him in Texas. That's just my opinion. I can see Jerry Jones pulling something like this instead of doing what Dallas would really need. But I digress. Miles, what's your take on JJ Watt and a possible team he could go to?
I feel like the reason he wants to leave is because he wants to win. At this point in his career, he's done so much. There's no point in, being like Kobe and sticking it out and hoping that we eventually get it together. It's like, this ain't getting fixed. Everybody wants out of Houston. Literally every sports team, all the players are leaving. Like, that's a sign that there's something going on out there. So I think you just look at some of the Super Bowl teams or some of the teams in the playoffs, like the Chiefs. They're an option, of course, because everybody knows that a Mahomes-led team, all you need is a better defense, and he could be that piece that gets them over the top. Tennessee, I see as a team as well. They brought Clowney in, and he wasn't exactly what they thought they were getting. So maybe they try again with J.J. Watt, someone a little more proven, and go that route. I like that Cleveland Browns pick, though. I think him, Myles Garrett, that could really be a difference maker because the Browns aren't as bad as people, like to say. People say the Browns going brown, but they look pretty good this year. So I think if he's looking at winning, those are three teams that put him in his best position to get a ring, I think.
Should that be his focus, Greg? Trying to get on a winning squad? Like, does he have enough left in the tank, in your opinion, to actually help out a winning squad?
I mean, yes, he definitely does. He's still a great player. But what it boils down for him too is like the cap situation with these great teams. That guy's not taking a vet's minimum deal to go play for a championship level team. It's not happening. They're gonna have to give him a respectable contract, and he's still that kind of player. He still demands that kind of respect. He can be a Pro Bowl bowler on any given year. So that level of talent, obviously, even now. But first off, he is an all-time great Texan. He might be the greatest Texan of all time. I actually think he is the greatest Texan of all time. Yeah. If Deshaun plays his whole career there, then we'll talk about that. That'll change. But since Deshaun isn't, right, and since he's not trying to, I think JJ's going to be go down as the greatest Texan of all time. But yeah, I mean, some great fits for him. I see the Packers. He's from Wisconsin, home. Get to play with the team that can win a championship on any given year with Aaron Rodgers. Too, they have some cap situations they got to work through, so we'll see if that can work. The Browns is a really good pick too, but then again, they another team. They just paid Myles Garrett. They have some cap situation they got to work through, and they have to pay Baker. They're gonna have to pay Baker. They're gonna pay him. So they have to work through that. They also have Odell in the books, Jarvis in the books. They have a lot of money tied up, so I don't know how that works for them. But the Steelers, another team I think is interesting too because his brother's there obviously, but they're gonna need pass rush. I actually think they could lose Bud Dupree. And he's an intriguing guy that can hit the market, so I'm excited about the idea of him hitting the market. But with a guy like JJ stepping in there and filling that void alongside TJ Watt, it's going to be dominant too. So those two teams are teams I'm looking at as potential fits. And obviously, I think Dallas too because it's the kind of stupid thing Dallas would do. They would go get a big name defensive end player. That's what he does. That's Jerry Jones. Let's go get the big name defensive player. Let's go get the big name player in general. I don't care what position they play. If it's a big name punter, let's get a big name punter. Right? Let's just do it, right? Because we're all about flash over substance. The Cowboys are flash over substance, right? So, yeah, I can see them doing something like that too for sure. They would definitely go after him.
And still not pay Dak.
Huh?
Yeah.
And still not pay Dak.
Oh, yeah, he's not paying Dak. That conversation should be dead. He's not paying Dak. He would have done it already, yo. He would have done it. The ankle injury is not going to change the way Dak's game is played. So he's not paying Dak, bro. That conversation's dead. As far as I'm concerned, Dak is gone. It just is a matter of where he goes in a year or two, right? And they're going to try to figure it out in the draft to I saw a rumor today they would pay Dak and then try to flip him for Deshaun with picks. Like, I saw that. It's crazy. It's crazy. Hey, man, no, but the J.J. Watt will be a good fit for any team, but he's obviously going to go out there and put winning first. I just don't know how much he's going to compromise in terms of money because he's still a player that can command an excess of $10 million a year easily. So it's just a matter of what he's willing to give up.
Let me ask you this real quick.
Perfect transition. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Antonio, what you think he's worth in terms of, like Greg just said, he can command $10 million a year. But if you're a team signing him, are you signing him to a 2-year deal? Or are you signing to a 4-year deal based on his injury history and how much you think he got left in the tank? Because he's not someone you can build around anymore, right? He's someone that can come in and help you out, for that season, and then you think about the long term later. His long term may only be 4 more years in the league. So, where do you stand on that?
I think they should do something like the Titans did that 1 year with Jadeveon. Hey, we do it 1 year. And I think if Clowney actually played well, Titans would have had no problem signing him back, but I don't think that's going to happen because of his performance. So I think, me personally, I think J.J. Watt, if he's healthy, if he can play, like you say, he hasn't played a full, season in God knows how long, 2 out of the last 5 seasons. A healthy J.J. Watt, I think the perfect ideal situation on either the Browns or the Steelers, where he's not the focal point, he's going to get busy. You might see a year where he get 8 to 10 sacks, especially talking about on the Browns. There's 2-3 people trying to stop Myles Garrett alone. All right, now you add J.J. Watt. So they both eat off of that. And then, God forbid, you put him with his brother, T.J. Watt, and how much Pittsburgh blitzes. Oh, yeah.
They wouldn't have to blitz as much. I think they blitz too much. Pittsburgh blitz too much. They leave their corners on the island way too often. So now you stop blitzing. Those corners can play more zone, more matchup zone. You're better in coverage, and you're going to get there with 4 guys. That's what J.J. Watt allows you to do as a defensive coordinator. You get there with 4 guys. So now I think that Steelers are the most logical fit. The Packers are a logical fit too because of just destination, home, and hey, I'm playing with a great quarterback. I have a chance to win a Super Bowl this year. Like those 2 places make a lot of sense, and they can probably work it out with the cap situation.
Speaking of the Steelers, J.J. Watt did come out. He's been in the news a lot for the releasing and everything. Came out and said this tweet. I want to hear what y'all thoughts are on it. Aaron Donald is an absolutely incredible player. I love watching him play, and he's headed to the Hall of Fame without question. This has nothing to do with him, though. This is me saying what my brother won't. TJ played 1 less game and still led the NFL in every major category. He had more tackles than Aaron Donald this year, 2.5 sacks more than him, more tackles for loss, more QB pressures, more QB hits, passes defended, and he had an interception. Does he have a point here? Should TJ Watt have gotten Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah.
He has a point, but you got to look at it like Aaron Donald's getting double and triple teams every game. So if he's putting up that many sacks and he only had 2 sacks less than TJ Watt, then of course he deserves it over him. That's my opinion, because if everybody knows how dangerous he is on the field, you send 3 linemen at him and hope everybody else just trips and falls, because you know how he can just wreck a game. Like TJ Watt is good, don't get me wrong, but Aaron Donald's probably one of the best defensive linemen ever, if you're really looking at it.
Yeah, I think it depends on how you use him too, right? Like TJ Watt, you can move him around. He can drop back. He can be on the right side. He can be on the left side. And Miles brought up a great point. Like he's not getting double teamed every single play. Sometimes he has a free shot at the quarterback. Like Aaron Donald doesn't ever get that opportunity. You put him on the right side, he got 2 guys on him. You put him on the left side, he got 2 guys on him. Sometimes TJ Watt line up on that right side. No one picks him up. Straight shot at the quarterback.
Depends on the criteria for the MVP award. This is what we get into when we talk about basketball MVP awards. The conversation pisses me off with the NBA, and with football, it's a lot. I don't think it's the same thing. I think they chose the best defensive player, the most technically sound, the best defensive player on film. They chose him, so I don't have a problem with that, right? As long as they're consistent. But if you're looking at the numbers, the raw numbers, yeah, they have a point. TJ should have won. By raw numbers, TJ should have won Defensive Player of the Year. Because what more could he have done? It is not his fault he gets free shots at quarterbacks. It is not his fault he doesn't get double teamed. He was productive in the situation that he was in. He made every opportunity that he had. That's all you can ask for out of any player on the field. That's it. So if the criteria is, best player in terms of numbers on any given defense in the NFL, if that's what it is, TJ deserves to win. If it's, who is the most dominant football player on the defensive side of the ball, period, it's Aaron Donald. And so I don't have a problem with them picking Aaron Donald. No one should. But if you're TJ Watt, you got to feel a little sick because you could have had that under your belt. What else could you have done? There's a chance he never does this again. I'm not saying he's that, because that's a historic season he had. Shaq Barrett had a season similar the year before. So he did a very similar thing. So, it's all about criteria and what the writers are voting based off of. I hope we talk about. I think we're going to talk about the MVP for the NBA too, because that pisses me off. And that's the difference between the NBA and NFL. So I don't have a problem with the way the NFL does it, but I think that they have a point. He has every right to be upset or feel some kind of way or go kick rocks or something, because I'd feel some kind of way too.
You mentioned a good point too. You said he might not have a season like that again. The same can be said of Byron Leftwich. The same could be said of Todd Bowles. They win a Super Bowl, and their stock is definitely the highest that it's probably been in the last 3 to 5 years. By the time the Super Bowl is over, there is no open head coaching positions. Should the NFL change the deadline on when coaches get hired? Should it be after the Super Bowl? Even you look at Eric Bieniemy. Stock was super high last year. Win the Super Bowl, he's still assistant coach. And specifically, you're looking at this black coaches, when their stock is high, you know the saying, they better strike while the iron is hot.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get that chance to be, you feel me? It's going to be, we need to see consistency now. So they didn't have that opportunity. So should the NFL actually change the deadline on that? Should it start after the Super Bowl?
No, because the black head coach that didn't get the job before the deadline isn't getting a job after the deadline's been. The deadline isn't why they're not getting hired. You can hire a head coach. You could theoretically hire a head coach as soon as the playoffs start. As soon as it starts. So what stopped any team going after Todd Bowles? Todd Bowles did a great job with that defense all year. It wasn't just the Super Bowl. It wasn't just the playoffs. They shut down the Packers. They in that one game where they sacked Aaron Rodgers like 50 times, like what it felt like, right? So and Leftwich did an amazing job. Tom Brady will get all the credit, right? The thing is about black coaches in the NFL is like when they have success, everyone else gets credit. And it tends to be the white personnel that gets the credit. So Eric Bieniemy, it's Andy Reid, he's a genius. And when you listen to football games, when you listen to the commentators talk, it's never about Byron Leftwich. It is always about Bruce Arians. Oh, that's Bruce Arians. That's classic Bruce Arians. Like they may have a good play, classic Bruce Arians. If you listen to a game when the Chiefs are playing, classic Andy Reid. Look at that jet sweep there for Tyreek Hill. It's never about Bieniemy. It's so strategic. It happens right in front of us every Sunday, but no one pays attention to it, right? Like those guys aren't getting a job, and I hate to be cynical about it, but there's precedent for this. We've seen it, right? Those guys aren't getting a job no matter how far you push the deadline out to. I could push the deadline out to the start of next season. You could do it up until week 1 of next year. They're not going to get the job. They're not getting a head coaching job because, as we saw at Urban Meyer, this league is ran by white men who look to help their people out, and they don't care about backlash. They don't care about us talking about this on this podcast because they're above the law. They feel like they're above the law, right? Like you think about how high and mighty you have to feel to be Urban Meyer, not to bring it back to him, to hire a guy who was literally cast aside and fired from his program for hate speech openly, right? Like that's insane. So if you feel that high and mighty about that, it's no way you care about the way black people feel or black representation in the NFL. They don't care. Everything the NFL does is performative. Everything they do from that perspective, from a Black Lives Matter perspective, the NFL's everything they do is performative. I take everything with a grain of salt. I love the sport. I love the sport. I love supporting the black athletes that go out there and are brilliant every single weekend and do something that is incredible. They're real life superheroes, right? But from a big standpoint, from a big picture view, Colin Kaepernick was right on the nose of everything, man. Like it boils down to that. It's a bigger conversation to be had. So this is a good conversation to have, but those guys aren't getting hired, bro. They're just not, because everyone else is getting credit but them. All right. And if you look at, and I'll say this too, and all the listeners can go look this up. I looked this up the other day. Black head coaches have a higher overall win percentage than any other race, minority, it doesn't matter, race that's ever coaches in the NFL. They are above 500 collectively. It's a fact. It's crazy. So it goes to show you gotta be twice as good to get half of what they got. And sometimes you still don't get what they got.
Chris, let me ask you this. So with this being said, Greg's shared a lot of facts right there. Do you think there can be anything done to help change this though? Like they have the Rooney Rule, but we see that hasn't really changed anything. Affirmative action, just in general, hasn't really changed anything per se. You get the conversation of, oh, he only got hired because he was black.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think anything can be actually done to change this in NFL?
That's a good question, and honestly, I think the answer is no. Right? You gotta, if you're the person that's in charge of hiring for your organization, right? If you're the owner and you're making that hiring decision, you got to give everyone a fair shake based on what they bring to the criteria. We saw it with the Detroit Lions, and Bieniemy was still on the table to have a head coaching job, and and he didn't even get a fair shot at that. Obviously, he was still in the playoffs and whatnot, and they couldn't really reach out to him. But like the fact that it shows you this right here, the fact that they didn't even try to hold off a little bit and wait to see how some things played out and whatnot, just tells you everything you need to know right then and there. Like they're willing just to grab the next available white guy rather than give the black man a fair shake in terms of head coaching. Now, the one thing that I will say in terms of Greg had mentioned something earlier in terms of consistency, right? Some people want to see consistency, and that's often the excuse made for black coaches not getting a job is, oh, we need to see another year of him being consistent. I think if someone said that about Byron Leftwich, I wouldn't have a problem with that because he's in his first year as a offensive coordinator, and I kind of want to see how he does next year too. I wouldn't hate for him to get a head coaching job this year, but at the same time, I want to see what he does in year 2 with Tom Brady under his belt. See if they can run it back and see how some of the things that I wish they would have done this year differently. See if they make those adjustments next year and just really see how they do. If someone made that critique about Byron Leftwich, I would not have a problem with it. But for someone like Todd Bowles, who in his first season with the Jets went 10-6 and led them to a winning season, yes, crippled by a few bad years of non-playoff runs and just overall bad records. I think they went like 20 and 40 in his whole tenure or something like that.
Miles can speak to that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, with Todd Bowles, like, what you're getting from Todd Bowles. The thing that I respect about Todd Bowles, right, is he humbled himself. He didn't go and become an analyst. He didn't go and try to become a college coach. He sat back. He said, all right, let me take this coordinator position. Let me stay here for a few years, remind people who I am, and my head coaching job going to come. 2022, at the end of this coming season, he will be a head coach in 22. I guarantee you. He's going to get a head coaching job somewhere else. But again, race is going to play a factor into that too. Is he going to get a fair shake? I should say this. He should get a head coaching job in 2022, but, time will tell.
Hey, Miles, so in a situation, let's say Todd Bowles gets a head coaching job, right? Do you think it is the responsibility, or it should be a responsibility, of black coaches that get that opportunity to also hire black, though?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at Bruce Arians, shout out to Bruce Arians, but if you look at his whole staff, it's all black, like from defense to offense, like Byron Leftwich, black, Todd Bowles, black, all the cornerbacks coach, running backs coach, all black. So shout out to him for giving them an opportunity. But it's a tough conversation to have. I mean, it's something that's going to keep happening every year. I love Todd Bowles, though, but it was just a bad start in New York. And he has no personality, really. So for him to come out in New York and show no personality, it kind of left a bad taste in his mouth as far as the head coach goes. But yeah, I hope he gets another opportunity. But then, like Greg said, you got to work twice as hard, and that's just the way it is, even without football in life. For all of us, we got to work twice as hard just to be seen as equals with our white counterparts. So
hit the nail on the head. If you didn't say that, I was about to jump in and say that, because this goes way beyond football, way beyond.
Oh, Lovie Smith was winning games with Rex Grossman as his quarterback. Does anyone know how hard that is to do? Rex Grossman, we don't curse in the podcast. Rex Grossman was ass. Come on, yo! What are we talking about? Yo, we have to work 3 times as hard to get. Lovie Smith never got a job again, bro. Jim Caldwell never got a job again, bro. What are we talking about, bro? If black coaches don't hire black assistants, who's gonna do it? No one. That's how this game go, bro. White people help their own. They help their own, no matter how crazy the stuff they've done is, right? No matter how off the wall the stuff they've done is, they have the audacity to drag anyone along. So why shouldn't black coaches do the same thing when they get the chance? Why shouldn't Mike Tomlin do the same thing, right? Hey man, like it's crazy. It's insane.
And to a point that Chris made with Byron Leftwich, I think all of us would have agreed that would have been a fair assessment. It's only been 1 year. And the thing that I think we also are saying in it, though, you have to be so careful because, as you said, you got to be twice as good. They have a shorter leash. So I don't think Byron Leftwich, after one season, you don't want to see him get a head coaching job knowing he only got 1 year on his belt coaching. And they already going to have in the mind, look, if you don't get 12-4 in those first 2 seasons, you're out of here.
But if all things are equal, we see hot white coordinators, like white coordinators that are hot and go on winning streaks, like especially offensive coordinators, get jobs real quick. It don't take that long. One good season.
But after one season, though.
Yes. Yo, Joe Brady leveled up. Joe Brady from LSU. Joe Burrow killed it, right? They win the championship. He goes to the Panthers, has a okay year. Teddy Bridgewater's a good quarterback. It wasn't so much about him. He had some good pieces over there. And then he doesn't get a job, but he gets interviews. He got interviewed this year for jobs. Yeah. You can go look it up. Did Leftwich get the same consideration? Or it's because it's Bruce Arians' offense. See,
right.
You see what I mean, though? You see what I mean? No, Matt Rule didn't get the credit for Joe Brady's success, right? But you see how that go? Like, so I don't want to hear that either. Like, Leftwich, for his own benefit, we're saying he shouldn't get a job.
Yeah,
you don't want to see him fail after 1 year.
Yes, but the reality is, if all things are equal, Leftwich deserves some interviews. He deserves to sit down with somebody and talk about some jobs. Like,
for sure.
And he doesn't get it, and we all know why.
Yeah, well, like you just said, he deserves some interviews. That's the thing across the board in life. We don't sometimes even get in the room. Byron Leftwich wasn't invited in the room. He didn't get a seat at the table. That is just that simple.
Whether he wanted to be in the room or not.
Right. He had no choice.
Didn't get the option.
Didn't get the option.
It's crazy.
Exactly. And this is the NFL, though. To circle back to the original question, I don't know if this ever changes. I think it's just situations like in life. If you're in a position of power and you're Black, try to put on as many qualified Black people also, so you can build. And it could be something where you're looking at, like, everybody talks about Belichick, the Belichick coaching tree. It should be like that with a Black head coach. You should have somebody like a Mike Tomlin, that you have a tree, and then people could be like, oh yeah, we hired him. He was under Mike Tomlin. Oh yeah, we hired him. He was under Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy had something like that kind of. So I think that's kind of what has to happen, and that's across the board, honestly.
Responsibility as a Black man, as a Black woman in the position of power in any industry, in anything you do, to put Black people on. That's it. It don't mean hire people that aren't qualified, but to put Black people on. You have a responsibility. It's that simple across the board.
I think that's a perfect way to wrap that segment up. Transitioning flag on the play. Y'all know the vibes, accept or decline. Sticking with football, Adrian Peterson wants to play to 40 and break Emmitt Smith's rushing record. Accept or decline?
Accept it, because I feel like he wants to play because he's a little broke right now. He's got a few bad investments. He needs to, earn a little extra cash before he's all done. His legs are his moneymaker. So I get it, AP. You wanna play till 40, but it's not by choice. You have to. You have to.
Yeah. What's Antonio? Let me ask you this: where's he at right now? How far is he away from that record?
He's like 3,000 yards short.
Yeah, he don't got 3 seasons left in him, bro.
He didn't reach 1,000 this year.
What he needs,
640 yards rushing.
Yeah. What he needs to do
is that's crazy. The quote that he said, "I want to live to be a 40-year-old back out there rushing for 1,500 yards."
He can do it.
And amazing people still.
He can do
it. 1,500? I don't see 1,500 coming out of AP.
Nah, I don't see it either.
Season was crazy. No one's ever done nothing like that before.
That was years ago, though. That's not how his body's feeling now.
We can play the father time argument all we want. There are certain athletes that are generational. We have to understand when you see them.
Yeah.
LeBron, Tom Brady's a generational athlete. He deserves the credit, right? As much as I it's on record. I don't like Tom Brady, but he's a generational athlete. He deserves a
Of
credit
course.
for that, right? Like he is. And so, and it's not that Tom Brady's some gifted athlete. It's that he's smart enough to know how to take care of himself. LeBron's smart enough to know how to take care of himself, and he's a gifted athlete. AP, smart enough to know how to take care of himself, and he's a freak athlete. That's him.
He's also getting hit every play.
What?
He's also getting hit every play, unlike Tom Brady, unlike LeBron James.
I agree. Yo, someone's gonna do it. Someone's gonna do it, bro. Someone's going to get played to 43. Someone gonna play that to that age and go crazy, and they're gonna have 1,500 yards as a 40-year-old back. It's gonna happen. I'm telling you, because that's just the way we're headed.
Joe Mixon.
The thing with AP, he's going to be a free agent coming up though, so it all depends on if anybody signs him.
I think someone will.
People gonna sign him, but not as their starter.
No, but you don't have to be a starter to do that.
He's not getting a hump.
He's not getting
1,500
off the bench.
Exactly. Yeah. You think he
getting
getting
2,000-yard rushers pretty often? That happens. If you have a good running game, you can do that. Okay, the 49ers can do that any given year. They can pop 2 with 1,000 yards.
What team would you love to see? Do you think he could do that on? That's what I want.
The Niners would be a great with Shanahan's offensive line. It'd be a great fit. If you let him run behind guys like Mostert and those dudes, they just be throwing dudes out there, random dudes getting 40-yard runs. Please, yes, he could do that on a team like them, or even the Packers as just a backup back. Just throw them out there. They have AJ Dillon now. They're trying to see they're going to let go of Aaron of Jones, right? Their running back, their star running back. Another first-round pick, by the way. They don't use first-round picks on offensive talent. It's a joke. But like they could get him and let him pop off, get 800 yards this year as a backup. Yeah, they can as a rotational back.
He's just a vet at this point. He's helping out the younger backs whatever team he goes to. He's the voice of reason for them. Like
you think
Chris Swift helped him.
Do you
out.
think do you think this upcoming season in the summertime? Do you think he'll be at the rookie symposium talking about money?
Hell no.
we think it's solely about bread. It's only about bread, bro.
No,
I know. I think I've been being serious. He's a football junkie.
He got some kids though. It got to be a little bit of right there. He got some kids.
Oh well, he definitely got kids, right? He got work.
You know that. Hey, Greg, I agree. Football junkie, one of the top running backs in history, but that's definitely factoring in. He's not going to come out and say that, but the money aspect is definitely factoring in and paying some of those bills. Outside of it, we saw he just lost a lawsuit. 2 weeks ago? Just lost a lawsuit. So I think that's factoring in it also. Next one, Bow Wow is training with Rikishi for a WWE.
Bruh, pass
Rikishi, WWE. He's saying Bow Wow will be a part of the WWE after his final album. Accept or decline?
I'm declining.
That's a big decline for me. Give Bow Wow a sellout.
He's like 5'6". Who's he wrestling?
I don't even. Is it gonna be Rey Mysterio or something? This is a joke, bro. He's trying to be relevant.
Him and Nate Robinson gonna get in it.
Bow Wow had some bots back in the day, man. We talk about what Bow Wow did well. He had some hits back in the day, man. Shout out to Bow Wow, but
yeah, he was good in Like Mike.
Mike, baby.
It wasn't like Mike. Yeah, give him more credit, bro. He had some bots, bro. He had some bots back in the day. Like Mike was a classic, but he had some hits, bro.
Was he the son?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to give that man some credit, bro, because I think he needs that. Someone got to talk him out of this bad idea.
Hey, guess he's trying to catch up on a lot of stuff. He lost, Sierra, but that's another topic. Next one. Last one for Flag on the Play. This is a shout out one right here. It's crazy. Joseph Davis, Florida man, steals engagement ring and wedding bands from one girlfriend in Orange City to propose to his other girlfriend in Orlando with those same rings. Accept or decline?
Rings are expensive, man. You got to get out you can. These rings are expensive out here.
It's a pandemic.
You know.
People buy 2 rings.
Hey man, listen, it's a pandemic, man. You gotta recycle.
Wait, so I want to make sure I understood this correctly. So this guy's dating 2 girls, and he proposed to one girlfriend, took those rings, and
So it didn't work out with the girl in Orange City. So
okay.
he took the rings from the girl in Orange City to propose to the girl in Orlando. The girl in Orange City found out that the jewelry was mentioned about $7,000 worth of jewelry, and she called the police. So now he's
It
being
ain't
searched
yours
for.
no more. It ain't yours no more. It ain't work out.
Oh man.
You don't get to keep it.
Oh,
Nah, you gotta do what you gotta do. He's smart for that. I commend him. I commend him. I would have done the same thing too, especially during a pandemic.
Yo, Chris talking hot right now because his girl don't listen to the podcast. I was joking. Ariana, I was joking. Yeah, I would never do that.
Yo, why, Miles? Let me ask you, Miles, what's your take, Miles?
Hey, that's dedication. You going. First off, that's only a story that would happen in Florida. Like,
Facts.
that's only a story that would happen in Florida. But that's dedication to the chick that he gave the ring to. You willing to go to jail for her? Theft.
only he could spin it like that.
Hey, it
Miles,
ain't
so
theft.
she-
Only he could spin it like that, bro.
So she has to buy the ring? Is that what you're saying? You're not buying the ring, right?
Hold up. So did he propose to the other girl and gave her the rings? But what did she do? She basically robbed him of it. So he robbed her back.
I guess so. It
He
didn't
bought
work
the
out.
rings in
He
the
took
first
rings
place,
back.
right?
So they weren't hers. All right. Free my guy. Free my guy.
Transitioning.
Oh my God.
It's seeming as so far up to this point in the NBA season, it's a 2-player race for Rookie of the Year. Is this the case of Emmanuel Quickly and LaMelo Ball? Do you think it is a 2-player race, or is it more time that we should look into it because we still are only a quarter into the season? All-Star game is just coming up next month. I think we can safely say LaMelo Ball will be in this conversation the whole season, but Quickly, is he a part of this conversation? 2-man race.
Yes, he is, and the reason why he is because the Knicks are winning games, and he's playing a big role in that. Now, the Knicks have to continue this effort throughout the rest of the season, right? Which I actually think they will. I think they're going to be a solid team rest of their way through. So, yeah, that puts them in the conversation, and then it automatically puts you over Anthony Edwards because Anthony Edwards, the Wolves are horrible. They're not even fun to watch. So it's as good as he is and as talented as he is, it takes him out of the conversation just a little bit. Wiseman's obviously been hurt, so it's tougher there, and also Wiseman's having a harder time adjusting himself to the NBA game. He's having a harder time. So yeah, I think it's a Quickly mellow race right now. I think it'll be that way all the way through, so long as Emmanuel Quickly can hold up, and I think he's built for it. So 2-man race. I think I know who's gonna win this race, but I love Quickly's game. I'm a big Quickly fan. Shout out to him. He came into the league with the whole package. He plays like a vet. That's baby CJ McCollum. It's baby CJ McCollum. I'm telling y'all. He's a stud.
So Greg mentioned winning. Do you think, Miles, this is going to factor in who wins Rookie of the Year? Because I think it's safe to say right now the Knicks might end up with a better record than Charlotte. If Knicks have a better record, does it go to Quickly?
I think regardless, it's going to go to Ball. I mean, he's the bigger name. He's getting more minutes, putting up better numbers, I guess, right now. But Quickly's doing what he can in the minutes that he's getting it. He's showing what he can do, the potential he has, and that he was taken way too low in the draft. I mean, plenty of teams passed on him. He almost dropped out of the first round, maybe. If the Knicks don't pick him there, he might have dropped out to the second round. So shout out to the Knicks. We got one right. We might have our point guard of the future right there. And he's fun to watch. I'm proud that he's willing to admit something good about the Knicks.
I have never been scared to give the Knicks credit. anyone who knows me know I'm never scared to give the Knicks credit when they do something right because I don't have to do it that often. So here we are. Here we are. They've done something right. They've gotten something right. Yo, this is a great time for them. The Knicks remind me of the Nets team back in 2017 with D'Angelo and Karras and Spencer coming on the scene. That's what they remind me of. Because you got Randall's elevated level of play, where you get the 40 burger tonight. You got Emmanuel quickly playing at a really, really high level, and you've got sophomore RJ Barrett figuring it out, and he's taking better shots. His shot selection's gotten better. He's gotten better in year 2. He has. So it's an exciting time for a Knicks fan if you actually aren't beat to a pulp by how inept this franchise has been for so long. There are some Knicks fans who just can't even get up off the mat. They tapped out a long time ago. So for the people like Miles who stick around, they deserve some happiness.
If you're a diehard fan.
Miles is more faithful to the Knicks than hey Chris. So
wow.
It's crazy, yo.
I didn't know where he was going with that, but damn.
Hey Chris, is LaMelo your rookie of the year?
Yeah, LaMelo is definitely my rookie of the year, and here's why. LaMelo has a different. Emmanuel quickly, he plays well, right? He's got his whole package, and he gets buckets from all angles too. But LaMelo just has a different type of swagger about him. He was league ready when he came in the league, and there was no question about whether he was going to be league ready. We see what he was playing with grown men overseas, right? And we saw what he did overseas. And Greg nodded his head. Yo, the one thing that sticks out to me is not even something he did on the court, like with the ball in his hand, not a move he made or whatever, because everyone knew, like I said, everyone knew he could get buckets. Everyone knew he could come in and play. But, like, the confidence that he plays with, and he has that same type. He's definitely someone I think that has, and we didn't talk about him a few weeks ago, but someone that has that Mamba mentality, right? I think for him, excuse my language again, but he knows he's coming on the court, I'm going to bust that ass. And with the boys that he played with over in Lithuania, the play that sticks out to me the most is when he was out here and he had that little scuffle and confrontation with the guy, and he just smacks boy across the face, right? Like, doesn't even think, like, he's like you can't play with me, like, whether it's physical or whether it's on the court, like, you're not beating me. And he just comes with that energy and that, you know, confidence, and it translates into his game. And you see him after making 1-3, he like this already, you know, the game just started 2 minutes ago. Like, where does that come from? So, yeah, he's definitely my rookie of the year.
The way Melo affects the game is similar to the way Luka Doncic affects the game. The only difference is Luka has been a professional his whole life, and Melo, similarly enough, played professional basketball before getting to the NBA. But Luka was more refined coming into the NBA. They really do. They're a lot alike. They're a lot alike in the way they affect the game. They both play to get their teammates better, but they also are very aggressive when they have to be, and they balance it very well. And so Melo is just a natural out there, especially playing in pick and rolls. The way the game played now, it's a perfect fit for him. He's going to be a superstar. He is.
Now, something that came up a couple of hours before we started the show that wasn't on the docket. Just have to get your viewpoints on it, especially since we've talked about it on the show. Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin will not be playing with their teams respectively anymore amidst trade talks. Do you see either of them getting traded, or is it going to be a buyout? And where do you see them possibly going? I'm going to start first. I think Blake Griffin would fit perfectly with LA with AD situation, which we're going to get into. But I think Blake would fit there perfectly. But, Greg, I know you was big on Drummond coming to Brooklyn. It's talk to him going to Toronto.
Here's the thing. And Miles over here laughing and snickering and all that. So the reason why I said I was big on Drummond coming to the Nets is because, A, I know if he got bought out tomorrow, he'd want to go there. He's pretty clear about it. Not because I have inside sources, because he literally commented on Kyrie's post saying that he thought the Nets were going to the finals. I think that guy would want to come join him. That's what I think. Okay, so I'm not, call me crazy. He literally as much said it, right? So yeah, he's just good enough to where a team might give up a second round pick for him, and that's why it's tough. Even with that inflated contract, it was not crazy for me to think that guy's gonna get bought out, because this contract is crazy, and I wouldn't want that on my books. But if you buy him out, sounds a little 5-year minimum deal, I'll do that, because Drummond's a weird player. Like he can have 30 and 28, and he didn't affect the game. Like he didn't. It sounds crazy, but you can have a 30-30 game and not affect the game. Like Clint Capela will get 30 and 20 rebounds and not affect the game at all. That's how that it's crazy how that goes, because sometimes defenses let you have certain things, so it's easy. But with him, Toronto is interesting. I mean, it doesn't make them any more scary. No, they're holding on to this Kyle Lowry pipe being a little too long here, and it's time to move on. It's time for them to go to a youth movement over there. With Blake Griffin, I think LA is the perfect fit for him. The Lakers are the perfect fit because AD's gonna be out and we're gonna get there. But I think AD's gonna be out for some time, for a substantial period of time here. So they're gonna play it safe. And so if you want to have someone to come up the bench, give you some scoring, someone else who can play that 0.4 position too. Like he's a talented player. He's more skilled and more refined than he ever has been in his career. So LA is a good fit. There'll be a lot of teams interested. I expect if he gets bought up, the Nets will probably give him a call. I expect that they why not? Why not at this point, honestly? But I think that the Lakers are the best fit for Blake Griffin. If I was Drummond, and if you're asking me what his best fit is, I think it's Brooklyn. He's exactly what they need, but it's probably not going to happen.
Miles, I see you rubbing your face there. Are you in disagreement?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think Brooklyn's a good fit for him, but I'm also not a fan of Brooklyn. So
why? Why?
What do you mean why?
Tell me why. Give me reasons as to why he's not a good fit for Brooklyn. I want to hear why. I don't want to hear he's not a good fit. The fans don't want to hear he's not a good fit. Why? I just told you. I can tell you why Drummond's a good fit for the Nets. Want me to do it? Real quick. Okay. So I know Drummond, if we just dumb down his role, is going to get rebounds. He does that. He swallows up rebounds, and the Nets have a hard time getting offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds and closing out possessions. The reason why the Nets defense is so bad is because they are horrible on the glass, and teams get second chance to points. Drummond fixes that tomorrow. He also can run the floor, catch lobs from one of the best passers in the NBA, James Harden. He makes the offense more efficient and go. And you're not getting no post touches. That's perfect. Come set a screen for me. Go catch this lob. Run the floor, catch lobs, protect the basket. Pick up some fouls. I don't care. Just be in the way. Be another body. He's an able-bodied defensive center in the NBA who can affect shots. And that's what the Nets need. He's exactly what the Nets need. For basketball.
I want you to be there for that coach staff and seeing Steve Nash or Mike D'Antoni telling big old Andre Drummond, yo, you're not getting no post touches.
Word.
Rebound.
Think he's gonna accept that? He's gonna.
Yes. To win a championship, to change the image of him around the league, yes. You do what the team needs. This happens to a lot of players by the NBA, man. Play your role. We just talked about this with Brad Knight. Play your role, man. Your role is not to come here and get post touches. Why in the world would I give you a post touch when I have three of the best scorers in the NBA on the outside and the perimeter? Why? It makes no sense. It's not efficient for the offense. The Nets are a perimeter-oriented team. Just get rebounds, run the floor, catch lobs, block some shots. You're good, man.
But that's the thing, though. You alluded to it in the group chat. It seems like he tries to do more on offense. He might even want to go to a team where he can get post touches, which he's not getting in Brooklyn.
He doesn't have the choice. He hasn't been good enough to decide. Drummond, I don't think people understand what Drummond's situation is here. Drummond is overpaid and he's on his last leg. If he doesn't make it work in the NBA and become what teams need him to become, you know what he reminds me of? He's like Hassan Whiteside in that sense. Wow. Hassan Whiteside, Drummond's more talented than Hassan Whiteside. I'm not saying he's not. But Hassan Whiteside came in the league and started smelling himself. It was like, all right, well, yeah, now I'm going to get post touches and all that. Oh, now I'm going to start taking jump shots. No, you're not, you fool. Grab the rebounds, dunk the ball, and run the floor, man. Get your bread that way. You know who's a smart big man in the NBA? Clint Capela. You know why? Because he don't want post touches. You don't have that bag. Andre Drummond is super talented and can develop that bag under the right circumstances. But teams don't need it. It's highly inefficient. And if you watch Drummond, he does a lot of dumb stuff with the ball. A lot of dumb stuff. Like he's unnecessary moves, bro. He's not Joel Embiid, but he thinks he's on that level. Calm down. Take it to here. Come do your job. He'll get a bag. He'll get a new deal. 4 years. Promise you. So tell me why. You don't even tell me why he's not fit for the Nets. Why he's not fit?
Because y'all got too many guys over there. He doesn't want to go over there. What?
What are you talking about?
What is he? What is he gonna?
He can't be. So you mentioned the comment on Kyrie's page. He can't just be, hey, I'm just showing respect, but I think the Nets is gonna win. That might not mean he want to play.
Who does that? Who does that, bro?
It's a brotherhood.
So get the you know what he's doing? Get out of here, yo. You know what that was, bro. That was a cry for help. A cry for help. He's in Cleveland, and he knew he was going to get benched for Jared Allen. He knew it was coming, bro. He wants to go win an NBA championship and play with players who are going to get him easy baskets all game, and that's what the Nets are going to do. Kyrie and him are going to be throwing him lobs all day. Even KD's throwing him lobs there. It's a great fit.
They would make him look like a star.
Huh?
Now that you say it, they would make him look like a star.
Are you kidding me? How many easy baskets he get? Why is Miles shaking his head? I don't understand. From a basketball perspective, right? Like, get your Nets hate out of your head.
Oh, Nets hating this.
Basketball perspective.
You'd be a better fit on Toronto than he would be on Brooklyn.
No, he would not. Why?
You want to add Michael Jordan to this team too? Is that we're just taking everybody's best player?
You see. Now here's where it is. Then we get to the crux of the problem. And what it really is that he's just jealous because the Nets are adding great players and continuing to add talent to their basketball team. Oh, the Nets are good enough. They don't need to add more talent. That's what that is. That's your argument. Right. Not a basketball argument. The Nets are good enough. They don't need more talent. Not a basketball argument. It's on tape. It's no basketball reason why he doesn't fit. He fits.
No, because it's not working right now.
What's not working?
Y'all a couple games over 500 right now. One of the worst teams in defensive statistics this year. So you want to bring in Drummond. Let's see what happens. But you guys are better off bringing in somebody like JaVale McGee, somebody who doesn't need those touches. Drummond wants those touches. What? He's doing post moves. He's trying to.
Drummond doesn't need it either. Look,
you're talking in this sense, Greg. You're talking in this sense. You're looking at it from a GM's perspective. If you're bringing him in, you're telling Drummond this is your role. Drummond, I don't think wants that role though. If you bring a JaVale McGee in, you don't have to have that conversation.
Hold on. Drummond doesn't have a say in this. Drummond will be out of the NBA. I don't think y'all really get it.
You think he's not going to be in the NBA?
I don't think he on his last leg though.
Yeah, you're bugging with that.
Drummond's never going to command that kind of money ever again. It's never going to happen unless he accepts the role I'm talking about. And so you really think he's going to command this kind of bread getting post up?
No. See, no. I don't think he's going to command it. He's never getting this contract again. But look, Hassan Whiteside is still in the league. I think Drummond will still be in the league for another 5 to 6 years.
Why is Whiteside in the league? Why is he still in the NBA? Why?
Because he's a solid back center.
Miles, I don't even hear from you. Answer why? Why? Because he's full of it, bro. Because you know exactly why he's still in the NBA. Because he's doing exactly what I'm saying.
He changed his role. He plays
his role. That is it. Drummond
because he robbed the Heat. That's why he robbed the Heat. That he was good for a couple of seasons, and then showed that he wasn't improving.
No, Whiteside at his best didn't get post ups, bro. At his best, he did exactly what I'm talking about. He was just playing defense, blocking shots, running the floor, catching lobs. That's it. Don't get paid, big man. That's it. Why are you trying to shoot threes? What is wrong with him? Like, it is so easy, bro. It's not that crazy. Drummond has to accept his fate. It's already been decided. They've already put him in a box. He's not getting out of it. There's no way you can go in the NBA where they say, "Oh, Drummond, yay, man, go get us 20 points tonight. We're gonna ride you to wins." No, they're not. It's done.
What is wrong with you, you fool?
Like, what is wrong with him, bro? He's being a fool, bro. Because you know why? Because Drummond's young enough to where he can still get a $15 million a year contract doing what I'm saying. He's that talented. But he hasn't figured it out yet. What are you doing, bro? Like, yo, go watch some.
Maybe he's trying to
please.
Maybe he's trying to reinvent himself. Every player does it in their career.
Reinvent himself into what? A worse player? It makes no sense. What are we talking about? He'll be more efficient doing what I'm saying.
I'm saying he's probably, so you mentioned Whiteside taking threes, for example, right? I can just put myself in his shoes. Hey, I'm on these teams. I want touches. Y'all not giving me post touches because the NBA in general, they don't really do post touches. So Whiteside, maybe in his mindset, I don't know, since y'all not gonna give me the ball, I might as well shoot a three.
That is stupid.
I'm saying it's stretch fives now. Stretch five, stretch
It
fours.
is stretch fives, bro.
So maybe he's trying to. You can't. I see what you're saying, but you can't blame a Whiteside or a Drummond for trying to do that because they want touches. Think about it. When you at the Y, we've been at the Y together multiple times. You don't like playing with that joker that just keep coming up the court and you don't touch the ball. You don't get a shot. You try to touch the ball, and then they looking at you like, "Don't you shoot? Don't you shoot? Don't you shoot?"
First of all,
that's what they do to Drummond. Don't you shoot, Drummond?
Ain't nobody telling me not to shoot the ball. That's stupid. Secondly, you're getting your touches how you can though, and in those situations, I'm gonna go get a rebound. I'm gonna go do what I can to help the team win a game. I'm mature enough to understand that. This is a maturity thing. It's a maturity thing. That's what it is. You got to accept that. Your agent, if you're a smart agent, you're telling him, man, listen. Even in Toronto, he's not getting post touches, Miles. Even in Toronto, he's not really getting post touches. Like, just so we understand, he's not Valanciunas. Like, he's not. He don't even have that kind of game to the back to the basket. He does not, bro.
What, he's gonna go to Brooklyn, get 5 points, maybe 16,
no
17.
Bro, if you went to Brooklyn, he's averaging 15. He's averaging 15 easy. He's getting 15 easy points. How do you not understand it's easier to score in Brooklyn than it is in Toronto for him? How does it not make sense? I just want to understand. I want to get it. I just want to understand. Yo, put up a poll. How is it not easier for Andre Drummond to score in Brooklyn than it is for him to score in Toronto? I'm not crazy, bro. And for the dudes that DM the bench mob DMs talking about me, if you think that Andre Drummond, if you agree with Miles, you are a fool. There is no way. I am sorry. There's no way that it is easier for that man to get points in Toronto than it is for him to get points in Brooklyn. I'm sorry. If he's doing what I'm saying he should be doing.
He's going to have more of a role in Toronto, though.
To do what, bro? To do what I'm talking about. He will do the same thing.
To do as where? Do the same thing as where? As in Cleveland? Where he's averaging like 18 and 14 right now?
He could get that in Brooklyn easy.
Yeah, he's not going to get that
easy. With the way James Harden setting the table for people? What? Easy. The lob threat? You know how many easy lobs? They're not worried about Drummond. Guess who was the last person you're worried about out of these names? Even Joe Harris is a guy I'm more worried about. Joe Harris, obviously KD, Kyrie, James Harden, Andre Drummond. Who am I the least bit worried about? Please. Go ahead and answer the question honestly.
Drummond.
So who's gonna benefit the most out of that? How is this difficult, bro? He got me over here sweating, bro. How is it?
Where's he getting shots from?
They're
getting 15 shots.
Pick and rolls.
Kyrie's getting 20 plus.
Quick pick and rolls, bro. What are we talking about? If DeAndre Jordan can get me 12 points on an average basis in this offense,
at all.
What?
He's not doing that at all in the first place. It's DeAndre Jordan.
DeAndre Jordan can get you 12 to 15 points every night if he wasn't a lazy bum. It's the reason why I want to get Andre Drummond out there. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but now you're talking about now you're talking about literally changing the way how players give effort. Like you're saying,
anyone who watched the Nets can admit that it's an effort thing with this guy, DeAndre.
Yeah,
he's too talented to not be dominant in this offense because the lob is literally always there. It is always.
Maybe he want to do something besides the lob. Maybe he want to do something besides the lob.
We know that's not true because he's made a name for himself catching lobs. That's all that guy does.
Transitioning, we mentioned Blake Griffin, LA in their situation, AD's injury. What does that mean for the Lakers? And can they even get out the West if AD isn't healthy?
Yes. Simply put. Because you got the team's better than they were last year. They added more talent. Dennis Schroeder, THT will play a lot more, which I'm excited about, frankly. He laughing and all that, but I'm really excited about it. He's talented. We're gonna see it on full display. Kuzma obviously is playing a lot better in his role, and I just like the way he's playing right now. And obviously you got Bron, and Bron hasn't even tapped into it yet. You know that Bron has another place he can go to. So, that team can as long as they stay healthy, that team can get out of the West. As currently constituted, I know the Clippers are what they are, but the Clippers have their own issues to deal with in terms of just not having a point guard that sets the table. They didn't fix their problem. They rely on Reggie Jackson a lot, And that's not what any team wants to be doing. We talked about this.
You see, they butt heads all.
They're not happy playing together. They butt heads all the time. They're not happy playing together. And if you think for a second that doesn't matter in team sports, I'm sorry. You just haven't played team sports. If you have to like each other to get that far, to get to a championship, and the Lakers generally have that kind of chemistry going already. And also, I know the question was hypothetical. If AD is not healthy, I don't think that'll be the case. I think he'll be back. But if we're talking about LeBron and him getting there, there's also a precedent for this. LeBron can get the 2018 Cavs to the NBA championship. I know it was years ago, but let's be real. LeBron's not aging, so if we want to play this game, we can do that. LeBron can get this Lakers team, which is much more talented than that 2018 Cavs team, to the finals. Like, bet on that, for real.
Yeah. I think the chemistry's there too for him to be able to do that. A lot of returning players from last year too, and like you said, we were all talking about Kuzma the other day and how he seems like he's finding his little niche and he's in his bag. But I think what's going to be important if AD is going to be out for a substantial amount of time, which we all think he will be, more as a precaution than anything. I think Montrezl Harrell's going to have to step up, and if Marc Gasol gets a lot of minutes, he's going to have to step up too, because as a big, you're going to have to come in, and one of those guys is going to have to step up offensively, and the other is going to have to step up defensively, or do both. Because like AD, people forget how big of a part of their defense he is, and for him to be out for a substantial amount of time, that's going to hurt at some point, or it's going to drain the team down in some ways. And one, offensively, yes, they're going to be able to score and hopefully be able to make up for his absence, but at the same time, defensively is where it's going to hurt them.
Hey, Miles, who's the biggest threat to the Lakers? Like Greg mentioned the Clippers and Reggie Jackson, and you got Chauncey Billups pulling them to the side, talking about, you got to get the ball to Kawhi. Are the Utah Jazz the biggest threat in the West to LA or Phoenix, maybe?
I don't know about Phoenix. I do like Utah. They're playing good basketball this year. Jordan Clarkson, probably sixth man of the year. They play good defense on that team. So I think they're a threat. They could be the Nuggets of last year. But honestly, I think the Clippers will figure it out. They've got some injuries like Paul George. He seems to be nicked up every year now. But if he's healthy, I think they're right there. They can make a run at it. And who knows? AD, he just keeps getting hurt. And this has been a theme his whole career. He's been kind of injury prone. And hopefully he can be reliable this year. He might have to sit out a few months and get healthy. And hopefully he's ready for the playoffs. But I don't count out any of these teams. It's wide open.
It's early too.
If Greg is right, and let's say AD is out for a couple of months to get healthy, because you got to remember they was in the finals, they won, and it was a quick turnaround. So this could be a factor in the injury that he's going through, right? So if LeBron is able to lead this Lakers squad, which is very talented, but if he is able to lead them, are we seeing LeBron as the MVP this season?
I would hope so.
He's already MVP.
Yeah. He's just showed that for him, Father Time doesn't exist. Like, he's still the best player in the world at age 36, one of the oldest players doing it of all time. And I think he'll be the oldest MVP of all time. So that's all I got to say. LeBron's second best player of all time, and he's showing it.
What?
What? Second? He said second best.
Right? Like what?
We're not getting into that. That's a whole other discussion.
That's a whole other episode. But I can't even gather my thoughts, bro.
You good, Greg? Because I think it's 3-1.
Yeah.
Three of us. I'm picking LeBron over MJ.
That's a whole other discussion.
And then I'm picking Kobe over MJ, but that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
Wow.
You want to hear? They're not ready for that yet.
Wow.
They're not ready for that yet.
Yeah,
I'm like that. I got LeBron and Kobe over MJ.
They're not ready for that yet, bro. Hold on.
We just lost a few followers.
We can't do this poll.
I listen, bro. You did the thing where they have in the giveaway they can come on the show, right, and talk to us. So we'll cover all that. Because I think the guys will be talking hot in the DMs and all that stuff. They can come on and see what they're talking about. Nah, I mean, Bron's played really great up until this point. If you look at his numbers, the numbers won't wow you. It's two things: the 3-point percentage, and then his performance in the last 2 minutes of games. He's slamming the door on teams. He's shooting the 3 ball at an all-time high clip, at a higher clip than Michael Jordan ever did. Just to say, but he's doing that. He's doing that. So it's important that we note that, and that's the biggest reason why he's the leader for the MVP right now. And I'm listening to the Brian Windhorst podcast. They mentioned that amongst the writers that he won the early poll for MVP, and the last 15 MVP winners have won that poll, right? So LeBron's won MVP. The Lakers won't unravel without AD. In fact, without AD, that's gonna strengthen his case. So LeBron is easily the MVP of the NBA, and deservedly so. They have robbed him of 3 MVPs. It's ridiculous. The year Derrick Rose, when I love Derrick Rose, LeBron is an MVP just by every merit. But hey, that's a whole different discussion for another day. LeBron will be MVP 5 times. What it'll be? 5-time NBA champion after this year too. It'll be decorated, man. So I'm excited.
Facts. I completely agree. He's been robbed a lot of times. He's the chosen one. It's just that simple. And this year, MVP again, it should be. I promise you, if the NBA gives it to anybody else this year, I'm coming on this show going ham. I don't want to see no Greek freak. He could freak it somewhere else. I don't want to see KD. I don't want to see Harden. I don't want to see Kyrie. I don't want to see nobody else named. I don't want to see nobody else named. Yeah, Steph is doing his thing. And yeah, you have to put him in the MVP conversation, but he's not winning MVP this year. He better not. You can keep that shimmy shake somewhere over in Golden State. It needs to be LeBron. Point blank, period.
We had to talk. We had to talk about the Steph MVP conversation. He deserves to be in it. He deserves votes. And he should probably be higher than Giannis is on the scale, and maybe even Jokic. He's been really impressive this year. But the reason why he can't win MVP is because when Bron did that in 2018, exactly what Steph is doing now, what were they saying? No one was really impressed. Bron's held to a different standard than Steph is. That's the reality of it. Bron's held to a different standard than any NBA player in the history of the game has been held to, including Michael Jordan. Like, no one's been held to this standard. So that's why you can't be inconsistent if you're the writers. This is my problem with the NBA. This is a whole different podcast. I could talk about my problems with the MVP voting system for 50 minutes straight, right? Like, I might do a special for y'all. I might. Like, that's how upset it makes me. But if we're gonna be honest now, like, LeBron's running away with it. I didn't mean to interrupt the soliloquy, bro, but I just want to let y'all know that the Steph Curry. I know we got some Steph Curry fans. We got a couple of them listening to the podcast. I know for a fact that they're gonna be putting in word for Steph to be MVP. Not happening. He is not the MVP this year. Impressive. He's been great. I love Steph Curry. Appreciate his game. He is not the MVP.
I definitely said probably last month, before the season started, actually, I said if Steph Curry is able to get this team into the playoffs, he is going to be in the MVP conversation. Not foreseeing what LeBron was going to do.
Right.
Bench mob, if you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. We out. Peace.
Peace.